Hi, I'm Tom Bancroft, and I created MerMay. It's a drawing event where you draw a mermaid every day in May. So I want everybody to get ready for it. So what I'm doing is I'm creating these tutorials where I'm going to teach you some drawing tips about drawing mermaids. Now, there are a lot of different styles out there. Mine is a pretty cartoony style. I'll be showing you kind of a simplified way of doing things. And the reasoning is that I want everybody to be able to join into MerMay. So even if you're more of a beginning artist, but all the way up to at least intermediate, I think that you'll get something out of these tutorials. So let's start today. I have my huge Wacom Cinitq. This is a 32-inch. I love it. I want to do this demo on the Cinitq. And the drawing software that I'm using isn't Photoshop. This is called TVPaint. It's actually an animation program, but I like to draw in it too. The pencils are very nice, and it's super easy now. I can just add extra frames rather than layers and stuff like that. So I've already done some sketching in it, and we're just gonna very easily get into new frames because I can just hit a button. So what I did was I found some fish reference, because when we talk about mermaid anatomy, obviously mermaids are a little bit made up, but we want to have some ideas of different kinds of fish and all that. So I wanted to have great reference for that. And what I did was then I started collecting all this reference about what are the different tails that fish have. There's rounded shaped tails. They call this one the fork tail. This truncated tail, which is sort of like a brush, I guess. And then lunate, which is more like a shark fin, I'm guessing. And then here's like different kinds of shark fins. I love that shape there. This is more your average tail, I would say. Here's that fork tail, different kind of fork tail. Here's another kind of fork tail. This would be more like that truncate. And then there's also different kind of dorsal fins too. The soft dorsal. Here's your dorsal fin on the top with more of a point. Of course, same with the shark. And so knowing that will give you a lot of more variety in how you design your mermaid, right? You can put different kinds of fins on that mermaid. It doesn't have to be the same that we see all the time. And so that just gives me ideas. Then I go into what some other reference I have. And so this reference shows me all the different kinds of colors and varieties of fish that are out there. And that gives me even more inspiration. So the different fins and shapes of the fins and colors will also give me extra ideas. So right before I dive in, I want to look at all this kind of stuff and really get to know fish anatomy. So I'm just drawing, and I'm drawing her at an angle now. So she's kind of like looking up. But still same basic shapes. And there's the neck. Now we're going to do the rib cage. But now at this point, this is obviously where things get a little different. And that's going to be, we still want to have the hips here, so we have that pelvis. But now we're going to add, we've done our research, right, of what a fish tail looks like. And it's definitely wider here, and then it's going to taper here. And then I'm going to choose one of those kind of fish tails. This will be the forked tail. So this is more what we call the more traditional mermaid. They tend to have the forked tail, fish tail. But we can always have fun with this. We can add some side fins here on that. And even like maybe like a dorsal fin but it's way back here. And in that way, so when she's swimming, she's, able to kind of wave that tail around, of course, and have lots of movement and stuff. But design-wise, we get to have fun with these little fins and things too, which not everybody draws those on a mermaid, so I think it makes for kind of an interesting, different kind of a mermaid in doing that. Again, I'm just doing simple shapes, even for hands and things like that. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. I think I want to have a bend here. Of course, flowing hair. That's going to help make it feel like she's moving too, is to have hair that flows back. Because whatever direction she's going, if she's moving this way, the hair is going to move that way, right? It's going to get pushed back. I'm just doing super simple shapes right now. Working this big on this Wacom is beautiful. I feel like I'm just sketching with pencil and paper. TVPaint's great for sketching in too. And of course animating. If I wanted to animate this, I could start doing that right now. So that is the sort of the evolution, right? So human simple shapes to mermaid simple shapes. Let's go to the next thing and just go over one and create a new frame. So I have a nice blank piece of paper, and let's now start posing. So I want you always to think dimensionally too. So if this is, say, this is the rib cage, we can start kind of figuring out a nice sort of flowing mermaid, but mermaid kind of a pose. But I always think about these shapes, and I want to not forget all the anatomy that goes into this, because now I'm going to start doing some overlap, right? I'm going to start thinking of, okay, now the pelvis, and maybe even a twist. So we'll have the pelvis is twisting this way. Draw it as a block, while the torso ribs are this way. And put on the breast shapes. You can see there's nice twist here, and some people kind of add kind of a butt shape here to the fin. It's kind of optional. We may even want, maybe she's sort of sitting up. She's got her fin and she's on a rock. So start sketching that in. Just dreaming of a prince. This is that rock kind of in the water they like to pose on. And then, yeah, we can kind of have that fin now start to come at us a little bit and go right into the water. We're not going to even see the whole thing. That's the nice thing too. Remember, you don't have to show it all. Like this is going into the water. This part of the fin. It makes for a nice kind of a pose here, a little rock here. And then we'll have her hair kind of coming off the side here. Again, just think of it as simple shapes is what's going to help this. I'm going to go not quite so big on her eyes. I'll talk more about expressions and poses. So look for the next couple tutorials, which will get a little bit more into posing and expressions of your mermaids. This one has been more about the anatomy of both mermaid and fish, and hopefully that'll give you some inspiration to try new things. Don't just draw the same mermaid over and over again. Really think about how can you make a different kind of a mermaid every time. Like if we're going to do 30 days of mermaids, let's have fun and draw different ones, unless you're doing a theme where you're starting to draw the same mermaid over and over again, but in different poses and expressions and situations. That's a lot of fun too. And I'm going to be doing some animation with my twin brother Tony, and we're going to be doing a short film, so I'm going to be drawing the same mermaid over and over again, but for a film. So I hope you enjoyed this. This was all about mermaid anatomy and thinking out of the box and looking at the different kind of fins and styles of fish out there. That'll give you some extra ideas on how to draw your mermaid. Thank you.